Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. This is Toolhouse. All right.
Yeah,
What's going
today
on in our world?
today we're very excited to talk about this new I think it's called the MCP.
Hmm.
And if you don't know what MCP stands for, well, don't worry, we'll tell you in a minute. But it's something that's been released by Anthropic. So we're big fans of Anthropic. As you know, we use Anthropic for a lot of things. With Claude or any of their models really are very, very, very performing. I think right now they're one of the highest performing models out there. But
Oh
what
yeah, I went to this meetup yesterday, and there was a show of hands, and between OpenAI, so GPT-4 for all the OpenAI models, and Claude directly, and everybody was overwhelmingly in favor of Claude Sonnet in particular, so 3.5 Sonnet. And that was very interesting to see, but I'm not surprised because it's pretty decent.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because every 6 months, I feel like the preference has been shifting. And from one side, you have the big companies, pushing closed source models, and then you have companies pushing the like the open source stuff. So like
Yep.
Meta is a humongous company, right? Like Meta makes so much money every month, maybe more than like an average small country, but they decided to open source their models, and the weights are open. There's a lot of like good stuff that's coming out of Meta because of that. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, we were in. I mean, we not physically, but well, I guess physically too, through one of
Physically too.
our yeah, Simone, who's hasn't been on this show yet, but he was in Rome and he was at the hackathon representing Toolhouse, and we also brought with us Grok. And Grok and Toolhouse, like they were very well received by the hackathoniers or the people attending the hackathon who loved the ability to use like free tokens on Grok with specifically with the Llama models, because it was like it was a meta hackathon, right? Like, so they wanted to promote the Llama model. And just this week, Llama released a new model, like the 3.3, which we're not going to talk about today, but it's really, really high performance model considering the size, right? Like, so the general consensus is that Llama 3.2 had this like 450 or 400 something
Yep.
parameters, and the 3.3 model performs at a fraction of that size similarly. So as the time progresses, these models are getting obviously better, smaller, right? But there's one thing, and this is kind of the hook into what we're going to talk about today, is like the models are good, but they're still just models, right? When you are in your day to day, you're maybe working on Excel, you want to send an email, you want to do something creative. How do you interface yourself with these models? And the answer is there are desktop apps, right? Like you're a human and you're kind of like the architect, right? Of what are you going to do? What's your task today? Oh, you have to send an email. You need to write a presentation. You have to write some code. But you're still human behind the computer, whether it's a laptop, a phone, or something else. And so with these desktop apps, you have access to the models. They're like a gateway, they're like a tunnel, right? A tunnel to this like beautiful garden of heaven where every LLM is super productive and helps you out. But there's a problem, right? As we know, these tunnels, this applications that allow you to access LLMs, they're not very helpful, right? Like you still have to copy paste things into it. You still have to, drag and drop things. Anyway, MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol, right, solves this. So the way MCP works, and I guess if we do some editing, we might add some slides in here, is that you have clients, which are desktop apps. It can be your VS Code. It can be something like a chatbot. It can be anything, right? And they are the clients, and they interact with this like middle layer called the server. And now the server is basically allowing you to do things like connecting to a local database or scraping videos from YouTube, right? So you can create any server that your heart desires. And servers, they have many things within them, right? Like they have the ability to have like pre-written prompts that you can select from. You can give it tools, which is what we're using it for, and much more. But the real interesting thing is like there's only like 15 20 servers officially supported, maybe a little bit more by now. And there's a very cool website called mcp-get.com, and this website was actually came out as a necessity because all of these servers that people want to install into this desktop apps, and again, it's not any desktop app that can use MCP, but it's actually just the ones that support it, right? Like Zed, which is a code editor, supports it. I think SourceGraph, which is another code editor, supports it, and then obviously Cloud Desktop App supports it, and there's a couple more. But anyway, going back to the MCP website, mcp-get.com, which Chris Messina told us about. This website is basically like a collection of all these like things that you can now feed into whatever client you have, right? So if we actually go and share, let's see if I can share here. So now I'm going to show you what MCP does, right? So let's see if I can do this like
There
that.
you go. Oh,
Perfect.
that's much better.
So MCP registry, right? MCP-get. A very nice person made this website. It's not affiliated with, Anthropic, whatever, but you can see here that you have different packages. You have the ability to search Perplexity via its API. If you want to interact with Cloudflare, you can do. You just need to install each one of these packages. And there's quite a few. There's more than 10 that I remember. But I mean, some of them are kind of like duplicates, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is like, every server does one thing or some kind of like interesting things.
Yep.
But I feel like that's not the I feel like that's actually my biggest regret with with the way that it's been implemented. It's like you have to install every single package to have different power into your app, right? Like into the Cloud Desktop app. And so why isn't there a better way? Why isn't there a single place where you can go and install these superpowers?
So you have one single MCP server.
One single MCP server, and you get all of the superpowers. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And so we basically built it, right? Like we were like, hey, could we do this with Toolhouse? Like, can we give Toolhouse into this MCP server, and then have basically an LLM choose whatever you want to do? Just basically just let the LLM choose, right? So you don't have to go and install singular powers, using this website. And that's what I don't understand about the whole Anthropic thing. It's like, why did they come up with this architecture that's anyways. So for the demo part of our conversation, I will have to clean up my desktop from all this cycling equipment.
We'll edit everything up, so don't worry.
No,
But in the
fine.
meantime,
I just minimize.
While you get yourself set up, I think that's a very good call out. Like why those apparently simple things need to be so complex. I also don't have the answer. I mean, I kind of had the answer, but it's more, I don't know, like business strategy than anything else. But if you want true adoption, things need to be as simple as possible. Like the earlier you get into the door, the earlier you put your foot in the door, the easier it's going to be for that technology to be adopted. And it's a very linear thing. If something is simple, everybody uses it. It's the same for the same reason the simplest songs are the most sung and played. Everybody remembers like a very simple riff, but if you have nobody remembers a very complex classical music song. Same thing. Like here we are in kind of a jazz quartet kind of situation. Borderline like very complex tempos and stuff like that. But I think things need to be much simpler. Like, why? And one of the things that really surprises me is this like twofold approach. So Anthropic graciously donated Model Context Protocol as an open thing. So they created it, but it's for everybody to use. Just like Facebook back in the days had React, and they donated it to the world. Just because they're the big maintainers doesn't mean that they are the only ones. But if they want to see true adoptions, that the other model providers need to add support for this. And this is yet to be determined whether or not this is going to work. So we'll see. And
yeah, I totally agree. Like there was no real reason for Anthropic to create this hidden from the public. They should have just said, hey, we want to create a protocol, let's collaborate. And then people would have started saying, hey, I have this idea, like maybe we'll organize a roundtable. They could have organized some like public events. It would have been such a better marketing strategy for Anthropic. But instead, there was like maybe 3 people that came up with this idea, worked on it for a couple of months, and then like started finding some partners, and then suddenly, boom, it came out, and it's super complicated. And whatever. I mean, I'm not going to judge it. I mean, it's whatever, right? Like I like it, but it could be way better, right?
Yeah. What we think doesn't really matter. What matters is what users think, and users don't like this climate of like fear and terror. Like they know that tomorrow they can wake up and their startup is gone or their project is gone, right. And that's because and something similar has been announced by Anthropic all of a sudden, and this has to stop. Like everybody's taking huge risks to build something at the forefront of innovation, and then it's unfair that somebody with like 7 billion in the bank comes in and publishes a web page and you're dead. So we want to make things more accessible and simpler for everybody. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So there's a way to counter this, and the way is we explore all these technologies for you, and then we make it simple and easy to adopt if you want to, and if those are actually going in your direction. So we want to be on your side every single time, and that's our promise to you. Like the moment we just kill the community, I should be gone as the CEO of the company, and I'm saying this on the records. We can always edit this out, but we won't.
I wonder who's gonna take over if the CEO is gone. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would also be gone, because I 100% support this statement. The day that we don't have a community approach where we're trying to help and make things accessible, then there is no point in keep working. I can just go back and do some evil stuff. So
yeah.
anyway.
Before the day happens, show us what we came up with, what you came up with, like the research department and the CEO together.
I wish I could say I came up with it, but it was actually, as you know, the fine people at Anthropic. I just read the documentation and wrote some code. Okay. So this is
blow this up, please.
Sorry?
Blow this up as much as possible.
Oh, okay.
Zoom in.
Yes, I'm trying to. Is it better now?
Yes.
Otherwise, I can just share in a different way. But if this is good, I'll start.
This works. Yeah.
So this is like the entry point of an MCP client, right? Like you have a configuration file and you have a list of servers. Here we have this one called MCP server Toolhouse. It takes a command, some arguments. This is a Python one. It also supports TypeScript. This is very straightforward. I just gave it, the command that it needs to run with some argumentations, args, and this is basically the folder name that it requires to start. And then I'm not going to show you the code. It doesn't matter. But basically, what I want to show you is bundles, because we need to create a bundle. And I might show you some of the code. We have this bundle here. Oh, I just released my API key, but that's okay.
Oh no, everybody, quick,
copy it. I might just cut this later, but MCP Toolhouse is the name of the bundle. So once you're inside of Toolhouse, you go and create a bundle, and you call it MCP Toolhouse, and you pick some of the superpowers or tools that you have installed in Toolhouse. And for example, for this one, I would like to have Search X, and I would like to give it maybe send email and maybe image generation or something.
Oh, nice. So basically, let's talk a little bit about bundles for those who are signing up on Toolhouse right now. So bundles are kind of folders where you put tools in. Imagine like giving a box of toys to your kids, but you choose what to put in the box. So that's exactly the concept on bundles.
Yeah.
So we just put some nice power toys, actually, and we're going to give them to the LLM.
Yep. So just like you said, first of all, I installed some tools that I had from the store. It took one click, and then I created a bundle, and I have this bundle with 3 tools here, but you can add as many as you want.
Right.
So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Claude Desktop app. And I don't think I can really zoom into this, but yeah, actually I can.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, if you go to Claude and then settings, you can make sure in the developer section that MCP Server Toolhouse is starting. Whoops. And if you click edit configuration, you can find the same file that I showed you. But if you click on it, you can actually see the command, and you make sure everything is good, and you can delete it from here.
Yeah, that's the JSON file you showed us before.
That's the JSON file I showed you before, and being parsed in the UI. And that's how you know that it works, right? Like you're like, okay, it's here. So once it's set up here in the UI, now you will see that there's a new icon here, this one here. And guess what?
Oh, wow.
This one matches the tools that I just installed inside of Toolhouse, right? So
Beautiful.
like the tools that I installed and I bundled into this MCP-Toolhouse bundle is now being picked up by the Claude Desktop app. So now what I can do is like, I can start a new chat. Hey, Claude, let's begin. Hey, how can I help you today? All right, so if you remember, and I can always go and see, what do I have access to? Search X, send email, and image flux. Okay, so I'm like, can you tell me what are the last 3 posts on X by the account Toolhouse AI?
All right.
And
can
now,
you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, so basically what happens is now Claude is like knowing that it needs to call a tool, right, from this MCP server, and it's going to ask me for my authorization because everything needs to be very compliant.
All right. So zoom us in, please. I want to see more. Like, I want to see better.
You want to what? Sorry?
Zoom. There you go.
And here you go. So
we announced web search. It's our most used tools. That is correct. We shared that Advent AI is out. Check it out, adventai.dev. And we posted about our scraper tool being our second most popular. Yeah, that's right.
All right. So if I go to Twitter and search, I mean, I guess you can double verify for me, but
yes,
right? Because we read our own Twitter account every day, or X, whatever.
I mean, one simple way to verify this is to go yourself on Claude if you're reading this and do the same thing. Can you tell me what are the last 3 tweets on X by the account Toolhouse AI and see what the answer is?
Yeah, if I go on Claude.ai,
obviously that doesn't happen.
Hey, can you tell me what the last 3 tweets or posts from the account Toolhouse AI are on X? And now the same query, it's going to say that it can't do it.
Apologize. Okay, yep.
The typical. So this is a real,
obviously,
I'm make this up. I'm not trying to scam anybody. This is a real thing I built. So the next thing is you can do things like, could you generate a picture or like an image of a cute white cat wearing a Texas cowboy hat. Please show me the URL. So the reason I prompted it this way, it's because otherwise it wouldn't show me the URL on the first try. So here we go. Like I would have to then ask it to show me the URL next. I knew that from the tests.
And so now, obviously, Claude is calling the MCP server that's calling Toolhouse. Toolhouse is calling the model that's generating the image back. But in between, also what we do is to not only generate the image, but also store it, host it, create the URL in a shortened form, so we don't waste a ton of tokens, because some of URLs can be long ass URLs, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's thinking. It's thinking.
It's not thinking, it's admiring the image before giving us.
Yeah, I think there might be. This is, by the way, it's a. I paid for Claude, so we didn't have any limitations while I was doing my tests. Well, these things, let's go and see, because we can actually inspect what's been happening behind the scenes in the execution logs. And you can see here, search X, oh yeah, it looked for the, our last tweets, just like we knew.
Right.
All right. So there was an error generating the image due to temporary issues. Will you get to me? Blah, blah, blah. Please try again. Let's see what happens.
Wow. So while we wait, while we wait, I like to take a look at the prompt, because this is Claude basically prompting an image model. So it's basically an LLM to LLM kind of behavior. So everybody talks about agents and how agents can reason by themselves and can perform actions by themselves. This is an example. Like, we're getting behind the scenes of what an agent actually does behind the curtain of the buzzword. There you go.
Yeah. So I don't know. It seems it's still going. Maybe there's some hiccups with the image generation, but I will try something new. Meanwhile, I will say, hey, can you send an email to orlando@toolhouse.ai, set the subject to hello world, and give me a and say hi there as the content of the email. So again, it's going to call the MCP server, and then the MCP server is going to call Toolhouse, and then Toolhouse is going to pick the right tool.
Yep.
Let's see if this sends. It might be that because I might have to restart the server.
Oh, maybe, restart the server, because I have a nice image of a fluffy cat in a Texas cowboy hat right now.
Oh, right. Yeah, I see some errors in the logs. So let me see if I can.
Look at that.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So no, that's not fun. So the best way to clear this is to just kill it and then launch it again. And now, okay, it seems like it didn't save or did it? No, it didn't. It didn't save so please send an email to orlando@toolhouse.ai. As a subject, say hi there, and as the content of the email, say bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. All right, we're sending it. Claude is evaluating this. It's asking the MCP server to call one of the tools. We're going to allow this. And then this is being sent to Toolhouse. And then let's see. Here we go. I've sent the email as requested. Is there anything else you'd like me to do with you? Help me with? And so if I go to my email here, I should get an email. There you go. And there you go. Bonjour. And hi there. It's so there it is. That's the kind of like the demo of using Claude with Toolhouse through this MCP server Toolhouse that I built. Yeah, I think there's some, there's some improvements that I could add to it.
I mean, it's a demo, so
Yeah,
here,
I'll definitely look at some of.
here's a cute cat picture for you as a reward.
Let me see. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's perfect.
And a cowboy hat. But yeah, you get it. Like this started as a proof of concept, but it can show that an MCP server can serve pretty much everything, and you don't have to have one single server per action. This is the same that we see in startups. Like there are companies that do just one single thing, and there are so many AI companies, and so you have to purchase all these things and install all these things, or you can have one that does pretty much everything, the everything MCP server. And so
Yeah, and that's kind of like the idea, right? With Toolhouse, it's like you don't have to make a lot of things yourself when someone else already did it for you. You can just like go and work on the things that really matter to you. In the same way, I think this whole MCP architecture should be empowering the users to be able to be more productive, to help them to, like interact with like local files on their computer, with larger code bases, whatever you feel like doing. Like maybe, yeah, maybe even like, like use Photoshop on your behalf through the Photoshop. Photoshop is like this API, right? Like you can do many things. And so having to install every single MCP server seems like an unnecessary step. It's not elegant because you're putting the onerous work of the user to having to think like, okay, I need to go and find a server that helps me find this. And what if there's 10 different types of servers that allow you to search Perplexity as an example?
exactly.
And which one do you pick? And why should you pick one over another one? Whereas instead, if there was one entry point and it was like open source maybe, and so everybody can contribute, then that's much better because, as the server evolves with more functionalities, and Perplexity might add, like video search in the future, who knows, right? Like you don't have to like install an extra server. You can just like update the one server that's already there. And even better if you didn't have to update anything, right? Like you just had it automatic. And I think maybe that's the way the future is going to be, but maybe not. But that's the beauty of Toolhouse, right? Like bringing it back to us, it's like if something happens with one of Toolhouse's tools, like maybe the image generation is a little slow, or there's a new model that's way more realistic, when we can go and fix it so that everybody can be successful, everybody can
Right.
enjoy the working tool, instead of people who might be like, oh no, it doesn't work, like what do I have to do, how do I update it, what do I need to change, I have an older implementation, like. So
That's right.
anyway.
Yeah, Toolhouse is exactly that. Toolhouse is the technology that makes the hard decisions simple, so you don't have to do that anymore. All you have to do is to just go on and build something amazing. The rest we take care of. Like not everybody can have access to a ton of money and time and talent to build AI. And so there are going to be millions of developers left off of the AI revolution. That's exactly what the larger companies want. They want to have control over everything, but that's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen because we commoditize that AI decision making, the AI teams, the AI development and optimization and infrastructure all in one platform. That's Toolhouse. So that's just one simple example, the everything MCP server. We are evaluating MCP for you, and that's going to be something cool that we're going to show more over the next episodes. So keep following us, sign up for Toolhouse today, and let's build together.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I guess we'll see you soon, because I mean MCP is cool, but there are other things that are cool, and we'll show you more cool stuff in the coming episodes for sure. I'm very excited about what we can build next, and we are actually gonna build it, with the rest of you people on Discord. So if you want, please join us on discord.toolhouse.ai, and we're gonna actually, can we do that here? Yes, we can. Right?
No, we won't. We'll edit this out.
It's kind of like that
episode.
Send us your use case idea or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. Join us.
join us.
Everything is fine. There you go. I fixed it. I fixed it live.
All right. See you next time.
See you next week.